What's the Not Your Finest Hour podcast? What is that all? I mean, I've heard stories.
Not Our Finest Hour podcast. One I'll have to check out one of these days when I get a minute to listen to it. I've been told it's not for everyone. I don't know. It's just the general reviews I hear on it, but it has been getting really good reviews.
And I've never personally listened to it, but I have heard it's not for everyone.
I listened to the Not Our Finest Hour podcast. Just great podcast. I've really enjoyed that.
I'm not endorsing anything. From what I said, from what Caleb told me, he said don't endorse anything unless you listen to it first.
I do once in a while listen in, and it's a lot of fun. But I do got to be careful. It is not for everyone.
Caleb Allman is always dropping notes that it's one of the most value-added shows out there.
Of course, through all the Not Our Finest Hour, you guys poking fun at so much different stuff is absolutely killer.
I don't feel any oppression tonight. In fact, I feel very free. The Not Our Finest Hour podcast. Thanks for being here.
Welcome to the beginning of the podcast after the outstanding music. Although there was a request this week. I got a request this week. How fucked up is that? No one ever DMs me anything. From Turf, Surf, and Stone. I like that. Turf, Surf, and Stone. And they want to know if Mike is ever going to put an imaginary flute player into the intro music.
That could be a worse hour intro idea.
I was thinking that too, and I thought maybe our lizard overlords will, from the WEF, will push this podcast when they hear the imaginary flute music.
Or we'll get sued into oblivion.
Or we'll become part of some recipe that the lizard overlords have. I'm trying to lose weight so I look less appealing to eat. There's less meat on the bones for the lizard overlords when they take over. But,
I think they only eat crickets anyway.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right. They only eat crickets. They want to keep me within 15 minutes of my house at all times. I'm not that devastated by that. Like, people are like, I mean, I'm pretty conspiracy theory and I don't like that kind of stuff, but they're saying it's a 15-minute city. I don't really want to go for more than 15 minutes from my house. I'm fucking old and fat and lazy.
How would that affect your landscape career?
Well, I'm assuming that they're going to give me money to stay within 15 minutes of my house because that's the only way that works. So no one works. We all just work on credit points. And, so I'm guessing that everyone just becomes some kind of government employee. And then you just live off whatever they deem to give you. And you have to stay within 15 minutes of your house. I'm not that concerned about that. I don't want to go more than 15 minutes away from my house.
Do you think if they started the social credit system, do you think your social score would be pretty high, medium, or low?
Oh, probably low. Especially if your social credit score was based on how much you swear, it would be really low. Or how much fuel you burn. I think that I'm responsible for more than the average amount of fuel being burnt.
Don't worry, you pay your carbon tax share.
I do. Yeah. Well, but I get it all back in the rebate.
Oh, do you?
Carbon tax
I'm still
rebate.
waiting on mine.
That's what Trudeau says. He says we're all getting our money back in the rebate, which makes me wonder, why are we collecting the money? Just to employ more government workers? If your argument against the carbon tax is that we're going to get all the money back, why take it in the... I mean, and I don't understand the finer points of government, but it seems like employing probably 1,000 people, knowing the government, to collect carbon tax money and then redistribute it back to everyone. It seems like we're just paying for that's why those people can live within 15 minutes of their house, because all they do is collect the carbon tax money and redistribute it back to themselves. It allows them to stay 15 minutes from home. So one day, every street corner will have an imaginary flute player. That's the dream.
Because they won't own a flute.
Because no one owns anything. So. I'm going to work on becoming an imaginary tuba player. Have a career in the 15-minute city.
15
I don't
minutes
know.
of fame in the 15-minute city.
15
LCBO's
minutes.
on strike.
Did you see that Doug Ford released a video on where to get alcohol while the
No.
LCBO's on strike? Oh yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
awesome.
He's like working a grill, like fake working a grill and grilling some hamburgers, and he's got a map, and he's like, if you need your alcoholic beverages, these are the places you can get them, and we created a website so that you won't have to. And some of them are made right here in Ontario. I'm like, this
I
this
love
is
that.
that's a negotiating tactic with the union.
That's great.
Hey, fuck it. This is where I'm just going to tell people where they can get booze in non LCBO establishments.
That's funny.
I love it. I love the idea.
Apparently, the LCBO contributes 2.5 billion to the Ontario economy.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and these people are not striking for higher wages. They're striking to keep that 2.5 billion in the economy. They have no vested personal interest in this strike. This strike is just to protect Ontarians. That's what their media people said.
I also saw
They're
Yeah,
out
go
there
ahead.
striking to protect me and my family,
Yeah.
not for any personal gain at all. Purely only to protect me and my family.
Well, that's why I do my job.
I thank them. Thank you for going on strike. Thank you for keeping that 2.5 billion in the economy so it can get redistributed to people who don't need that already have 2.5 billion. Anyways, what was your point about this, Mike?
The LCBO did not negotiate as hard as Quebec, the province, against these distillers. So they just decided to charge these distillers for money that they poorly negotiated on. So they just basically said,
what
hey,
does
if
that
you want
mean?
your product stocked in our LCBO, you have to pay the $1 million that we didn't negotiate better than Quebec on. So basically, since they have a monopoly for people to have to sell their vodka and whiskey and stuff, they can just charge whatever they want.
So what happened? I lost the start of the story.
So Ontario LCBO negotiates against these distillers on how much they're going to pay to have them stocked in LCBO, right? Quebec had negotiated a much lower price. LCBO didn't know that until year end. And then this year went back on those distillers and said, hey, you're going to give us X amount of dollars off our next stock, which was $1 million or whatever, and force them to do that because they're a monopoly in Ontario. And if they can't sell in LCBO, they can't sell anywhere else. Yeah.
So LCBO didn't negotiate good enough stocking fees is essentially what happened, and then went back on the deal to the distillers and said, now you have to pay us more just because.
And then still increase the price on the label. So didn't pass on the savings to the Ontario residents. Instead, marked up the price even more.
Well, they're fighting to put 2.5 billion back in our economy.
Yeah, I guess so.
This is not personal for them. Not one person on those picket lines is doing this for personal gain or job security. These are not things that they're striking about. They're striking purely because they think Doug Ford is trying to take 2.5 billion out of the economy. And honestly, they could be right. The guy did just randomly close down the science center and sell it to his developer friends. So, I mean, honestly, the LCBO people, they could be right. Maybe this, like, I'm kind of picking on them here, but like the guy did on a Friday morning just come out and say, closing the science center down, selling it to my developer buddy, and then went to the cottage. So I didn't even try to hide what he was doing. Like, so maybe they're right that maybe he's going to shut down the LCBO and then put the 2.5 billion into his rich developer buddy's pocket. And so they're on strike to protect us, which could be true. Where the fuck were the people to protect the science center? Where were those motherfuckers? They're gone.
Scientists.
I used to take Paisley to the science center. I don't know that there was a lot of scientists there. There was a lot of cool stuff. We had a good time. It was a good place.
Can't say I've ever
mean-
been.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Well, the roof was going to collapse apparently, so maybe it's better you didn't go.
They
They had
got
a crazy
new green
mo-
roof.
They had a crazy cool movie theater there. They could have got a new green roof. Yeah. How did the rain? How did the hurricane treat you guys?
That was a hoax down here.
It poured here a lot. It
Yeah, I
didn't
poured
legit
here this
rain.
morning a lot.
It
We didn't
legit
get they said 100 mils here. The workers were running around screaming, 100 mils are coming. We have
100.
to stop. We have to leave. 100 mils are coming. I have to go waterproof
Oh,
things
yeah.
at the house. I'm like, that's a hoax. You're not getting 100 mils of rain. And so we stopped working at 10 o'clock, and by 2 o'clock the rain was done. And it's
Was
been
that
sprinkling
today?
ever since. Yeah.
You actually went out today.
Yeah. Because it wasn't raining when I woke up. I'm like, oh, rain day, great. And look outside and it wasn't raining. And I had not a whole lot planned for the guys. So
We shut it down yesterday. I called off everyone, and I got up this morning at truck. Cody worked and Ricky worked to clean up a job, and everyone else was off. And I shut it all down. I got up this morning, looked out the window, it wasn't raining, and I was like, "Oh fuck! I clearly fucked this up." But by the time I got in the car, it was definitely raining, so I felt better. The rain absolved me. It absolved me of a poor decision. Are you wearing a Grib shirt?
I am.
Are you wearing that Grib shirt just to push it on the podcast?
Well, I wasn't going to
Or have
mention
you-
anything, but now that you say something, absolutely. My grip is coming. I think next week or something. We're
Nice.
putting it on the 20-ton shovel. I hurried and screened as much topsoil as I could, just in case my bucket wasn't compatible to start with. We sold like $5,000 in topsoil this week, which is great for us, yeah, because we're not a topsoil company. And then one of my guys got in a fight with one of my partner's guys for no reason at all, for absolutely
What?
no reason at all. My partner's guy parked the truck and was waiting to be loaded, and he waited 10 minutes and nobody loaded him. Then he went over to my guy who had the loader, and they were doing some brickwork at the yard, and he says, "What do you think, I'm just going to wait around all day?" And then my guy said something smart, and then they got in a fight, and then the other guy drove away. And it ended up in me having to deliver 3 loads of topsoil that afternoon. So
When you advertise NDL topsoil, do you advertise the customer service?
no, we don't advertise NDL topsoil. And our customer service is poor, much like the electrician that's working on my house. But that's
He doesn't
something
advertise
entirely
NDL
different.
topsoil either.
No, he doesn't. I don't think he advertised at all, but it's probably for the best because they are fucking the dog at my place.
That's the second trade at your place.
So, but are you paying them by the
Yeah.
hour or as a contract?
I don't know. I don't know how it works. I'd assume it's by the contract for a house build. It's through a
Or
GC,
are you paying?
right?
Are you paying them direct, or you're just paying the GC?
No, I'm paying the GC.
Okay.
Although
So
we did
You
some
don't know
work.
how the guy gets paid.
I don't know how the guy gets paid. But if I were the one signing the check, there'd be some holdback for sure. I find it so easy for other people to hold back money on me. But I feel like everybody else is out there getting paid, no problem. Like the junction boxes are crooked. They're putting up the lights and all the lights are crooked and shit. I'm just like, how does this fly? Like, who said that this looks good like this and I'm going to leave it? If I did that in landscaping, I would never collect $1.
Mhm.
And you're expecting to get paid as an electrician for this shit? Because you strung some wires together? My God. And then you left a goddamn mess all over the floor. Looks like you just took a
You
every
thought an
place they
electrician
put a
was going to
light.
clean up after themselves?
No, I swear to God, every place they put a light, it looked like they just took a shit right underneath it. Wires and boxes and wrap. Like every place they put a light. There's a pot light, there's a pile of shit underneath it. There's a fixture, pile of shit underneath it. A chandelier, a giant pile of shit underneath it. Like they just don't clean up anything.
Does the general contractor have a laborer at the house cleaning up?
Yeah, well, he comes around once a day, Eddie. And Eddie's big Eddie. He's a little guy and he's got a lisp and he's got a big diamond earring in one ear. And he goes around, oh, I gotta clean up again. Did you need these boxes? I can get rid of all these boxes. And like it's just this guy going around filling a half-ton truck with boxes all day. And then he's throwing out shit that he shouldn't be throwing. He's throwing out light bulbs and stuff and like
I love
the
people.
remote for the fucking fan.
I love people who throw shit in
Jesus Christ. Like, so now I'm stuck in between the electricians are making a mess and Eddie who's cleaning up, just doing the best he can. And the cart's not talking to the horse or whatever it is. And they're throwing out important shit. Well, the GC apparently, but not because he was on vacation. While we're working at his house, mind you. So,
oh, you're working at his house.
I'm working at his house. He's got guys
Is that
at
where
my
you
house.
is that where you drop those sick cuts?
Yeah. Did you like those?
Oh, sick, man.
Awesome. Eh?
Fucking,
I thought you might
if you want to show some real skill as a landscaper, like if you want people to look at you and be like, man, that's the most skilled person ever, just drop a 45 miter. You know, people are like, that takes a real. I'm like, get a speed square. There's no skill. Like, it's one thing to say I like the way it looks, and I can appreciate that everyone likes things differently and the way things look. But for people to act like that takes any level of skill to miter a 90, get a fucking speed square, draw a line, cut it. There's absolutely zero skill in mitering corners. Everyone posted on their Instagram, look, man, I can miter corners. You could teach a fucking monkey to do that. Like, get a speed square, draw a line, drop a saw. There's no fucking skill involved at all. It's some of the least skilled cutting in the fucking world, and everyone's constantly bragging about it. If you are bragging about your mitered cuts, you are probably not actually a hardscaper.
So the client has a herringbone pattern in their front entranceway out of tile, right?
Nice.
And in order for my guys I said, duplicate the pattern of what's inside the house. So they're peering in the front window and they're looking and they're like, what do you want us to do with these corners? And they weren't mitered. They just were like straight through. They would run them through each side. And I said, well, just miter them instead because that looks stupid. They said, okay, boss. And then, I mean, I think it looks better than running the corner through in that situation.
Insane level of skill it took to accomplish that?
They did not say one time, wow, that was a really hard job.
When you ask them to miter the corners, they say, well, that's only for the really experienced people getting out the speed square.
No,
like, holy fuck. Don't ask us to do that, Chad. Like, there's no way we could draw a 45 line on a paver and cut it. There's no way that could happen. We are not skilled enough. That is only for the really special people on Instagram. Only the most special people know how to fucking cut a 45 miter on a corner. Speaking of like outrageous things that people threw away, when we were at the spa, there was this guy that just went around picking up garbage, Perry, and the pool guy had cut all his coping specific to each pool and had started putting it in, but there were some spots where he couldn't put the coping due to whatever million different problems there were on that job. So this guy went and picked up all the cut coping and threw it away in the bin.
What?
Yeah. Threw it all away in the bin, and then proceeded to spend 2 days in the concrete bin at this site trying to find these fucking pieces of coping and reorganize them. Just made me think of people. Yeah, Another time on that site, there
Oh
was like
my god.
there was fucking rebar everywhere, and I come out and I was like, "What are you doing, man?" And he's like, "Cutting this rebar up because I'm gonna take it to the scrapyard." Like, is that someone's rebar? Whatever.
Someone would have lost their life if they did that with the coping.
Oh, the
Instead
pool
of
guy was
coping.
the pool guy was pissed, like super pissed.
Yeah, I can see why. That's a real problem.
Every time something happened in that site to the pools, we got blamed. And I think that more than likely, most of the time, it probably was our fault because they were just digging everywhere and fucking causing havoc. But the pool guy would come and fucking scream at me, "What the fuck?" And then so he accused us of stealing the coping. And I was like, "Fuck you, dude. Why would we touch your coping? Go fuck yourself." And I got like right into it with him. And then I watched the guy go by on the power wheelbarrow with a bunch of coping in it. And I was like, "Ah, fuck. Jesus fucking shit." Man, that happened to me on another, like, this is like 15 years ago. Someone backed into a pole, like a light pole, and pushed it over and bent the shit out of it like a steel one. And so this guy, the super came to me and said, "You guys hit that light pole?" And we all said no. And so I said, "I'll go ask the guys." They all said, "No, we didn't hit the light pole." I said, "All right, great." So I went back to the super and said, "We didn't hit the light pole." And he's like, "I'm pretty sure you hit the light pole." And I'm like, "I don't think we hit the light pole, man. Like everyone's saying no." And then after I like literally got in like a brawl with this guy about it, about half an hour later, one of the guys came over and was like, "Hey man, I hit the light pole." Like, ah, fuck. Now I need to go and tell this guy I'm sorry. And we did hit the light pole. And my guys are liars, which will not go well for the rest of this job. The guy's gonna think we broke everything. Anyways, sorry, what were we talking about before the miter? We were talking about miters. Yeah. And the insane skill level. So was the client happy with the matching herringbone?
Yeah, as far as I know. He's
What product was that?
Mika. That
Mm.
smells like it came right out of the oven.
Did you smell burnt toast all day?
No, I didn't put it in. You guys put it in yesterday. And they did a great job. I mean, it's just a little landing, but that was their task for yesterday. And they did some grading. And every time this contractor moves, we end up doing the landscape. And it's something different every time. So it's pretty neat. But they build a new house every year. So
Nice.
make work project. Yeah.
Speaking of hardscape skill level, what about your city took on that retaining wall? Chad?
Oh, that piss poor job. Yeah. So I guess I was in-house by City of Cornwall employees. And they butchered that one.
It looks rough.
Yeah. So the city inspectors were texting those pictures to me.
Oh,
So
really?
look what our guys did. And they were laughing about it and stuff, right? Like it had to be done for a Canada Day weekend or something like that. And they just butchered it. She was bad.
Yeah, it's
Why
looking
didn't they
rough.
call you?
Well, because I'm too expensive for stuff. And I think somehow the retaining wall price is rolled into like a square foot reinstatement for brick price, or those guys get first crack at it or something like that. I don't know. Either way, the price is too low for me to do it. Unless I bid on it with the GC as part of like a various streets project or something like that, where they have us do it. But so the previous wall looked like hell. This one's also going to look like hell within a year or two. But it's my city spending money,
Spending your tax dollars.
my tax dollars.
Hard at work.
Hmm. My tax money that I don't owe to the CRA because we are done and dusted with our audit as of this week. We have all the paperwork showing that there are no changes to our 2022 and 2021 books.
Nice.
So money well spent for the government to
Obviously.
That's why LCBO is on strike.
Yeah. But Doug Ford had to sell the Science Center.
Close it down.
Close it down.
And then wait till everyone gets over the closing of the Science Center and then sell it after. But it does happen to be right beside his best friend owns like 150 acres, and the science center property happens to be right beside that. And he also just instituted a subway stop or something to go there out of the blue or whatever. It's all like, if you look at all of it, it's all very shockingly shady. Because when you're looking for a premier, you should look for the local heroin dealer or whatever he was selling when he was in high school.
But what's the alternative? A liberal? Because you don't want that either.
Yeah. Well,
Someone who will
I think
steal
they're
your
just-
money in the open or steal it in private.
I would go with open. I can respect shutting
Yeah,
down the
exactly.
science center.
Exactly.
I can respect shutting down the science center and giving it to your friends.
Yeah.
You're right. I can respect that. When you sell off our hydro to windmills so that it costs a fortune to some company in Spain, I don't respect that as much. It is kind of shady.
I can't believe that's our choice in politicians. In that, like, that is kind of just
Isn't
like
that
what we settle
everybody's-
for.
Isn't that what everybody has the choice of, though?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
In France, I saw this map yesterday. Whether it's true or not, it was on the internet, but I think it came from a semi-reliable source. And the Conservative Party in France won every single territory or province, but didn't win the general election. Somehow
They
it
got a
all
bit
got
of
manipulated.
China up there. Up there doing something.
So I don't know how the French system of government works. It just seemed like apparently it seems like a very shady election in France there. So maybe they'll have a French Revolution and cut off people's heads with a guillotine. They've done that before. They're known for it. It's true. I didn't make that up. They're known for it.
Yeah.
French people are known for cutting off their own citizens' heads. Famous for it, really. I think they invented the whole thing. And
Yeah.
when your head gets cut off and rolls away, sometimes your brain lives for another 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Isn't that chickens?
Well, I think it's the same effect when you're a person and your head something gets cut off.
Okay.
10
Some
seconds.
guillotines,
Yeah.
some guillotines used to let the head roll down, and some had a basket that the head ended up. So your last 10 seconds would be staring at the dude before you's head. I think I'd rather let me roll free so I could see the sky maybe or something.
The sky.
If your
Yeah.
head was rolling and you only had 10 seconds, what would you want to see?
What if
Well,
you
I
landed
don't
on
think your
someone's
head
30
would be the
feet?
thing that's alive. I think it would just be your body, right?
They say your
No.
head.
No, there's no
brain,
consciousness
eyes.
in your body. It's all in your brain. So
So you
I
would still
remember-
see.
I remember
would still
reading a
see-
thing where when the head get cut off and your eyes still. How anyone knows whether this is fucking true or not too? Like when they're cutting people's heads off and tracking how long their light stays in their eyes. I don't know. So when I read it, it said that and this was, I think I would have read this probably before the internet because I'm that old. It said that the head stayed alive. So the question is, if your head was only going to stay alive for 10 more seconds, what do you want to see?
if I would be lucky, it would roll under some woman's skirt.
There you go. I like that. That's creative shit.
That's the
good.
way to get one last laugh in life, I think.
With my luck, it would roll down to someone's mitered corner. And that would be the last thing I fucking see. I'd be like,
Oh,
what the fuck are you doing? And I'm staring at it, and then my brain is fading, and the light is calling me forward, or the darkness, and I'm just looking at a mitered corner going, what the fuck? That would be what would happen to me. Probably. What would happen to you, Mike? If your cut off head was rolling away, would you just be like, I don't know my numbers on this?
It would roll into a swimming pool, and I'd be staring at the pavers that are still in the bottom of the pool.
There you go.
Yeah.
The vacuum lift dropped my head and it landed in the pool.
or the pond, and I'd see the fish in the filter swimming around, pecking at my head. Yeah.
Here's something for you, Chad. A guy called me today because I guess I do business coaching without getting paid. So anyone who's listening to the podcast, if you need some business coaching and you don't want to pay someone to do it, then just give me a ring because apparently I do it for free. So a guy called me. He's bidding a commercial job, and his problem is that they're allowing the civil contractor to have the subgrade, and it's 20,000 square feet of subgrade. It's not a small area. They're allowing the civil contractor to have the subgrade plus or minus 150.
150 mil.
Yeah, which is like plus or minus 6 inches. So if he's hauling soil off site, he could just cut the subgrade 6 inches high and leave. And then they're saying it's a landscaper's problem to lower the subgrade after that, and there's no extra in the contract. I have never heard of someone telling the civil that they could leave the like plus or minus. Because the other thing is, what if they leave it minus 6 inches and now you got to import extra soil? And it made me think of you saying that there was some job where you had to verify the grades or some shit.
Oh yeah, that school job that we did before. We put a teaspoon of soil on it. The GC says it's your job to verify the height and make sure it's good everywhere. Because after you put soil on, it's your baby. Like, you can't come back and say, "Oh, the subgrade wasn't right" or something like that. So this guy needs a jack, is what he needs.
Well, he found it in the contract, and he called them out on it, and they basically said, "It's your problem, bro. We don't care."
Well, maybe that's the job you don't want. What's the Paper King quote? You make more money on the jobs you don't take?
Yeah.
Well,
This year especially.
that sounds like
You know what I told him to do? I said, what you have to do is approach the general and say, listen, this is the price if everything's perfect. Like, if the guy does the subgrade perfect, this is the price. And if the subgrade is too high, then this is the price per truckload that you have to, like, whatever we have to take away, like $1,000, whatever. And if we have to import, this is the price per truckload. And just say that way you're at least giving him some price, because it's hard to. And I said, if that doesn't work and you can't get a signed contract after offering that, just offer him a large cash rebate if he signs before July 31st.
a personal cash rebate.
And that's
Not
the
for
kind
the
of business.
company.
That's the kind of business coaching you get when you call Paper King. Go low 20s and offer a large cash rebate.
Low 20s.
Low 20s. Low 20s.
I don't think that guy's at 20.
Hmm.
I'll tell you what, though, that guy's really busy and seems to have a lot of work. So what I would say is the lesson learned here is be way cheaper than everybody else. And then on top of that, give cash rebates and you'll be busy.
Wait, who's busy? The guy asking about plus or minus 150, or the
No,
guy
no,
offering
the
the cash rebate?
guy was offering the cash rebates.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying the lesson learned is that he seems very busy. So obviously pricing things insanely cheap, posting it all over the internet, and then offering further than your insanely cheap prices, offering cash rebates is a great way to stay busy.
Yeah. I can see
It may
that.
not be a fantastic way to earn a living, but it is a tremendous way to stay busy. I haven't opened up my box of high vis gear yet.
Oh,
Ooh. What did you get, Chad?
I got a bunch of stuff. I got earmuffs that my daughter wouldn't take off for 3 days. Like, she would wear them to watch TV and we'd be talking to her and she would smile and nod. I'm like, take the fucking earmuffs off. Like, she's like, what? So she got these green earmuffs. We got a bunch of high vis shirts, bunch of sweet gloves, a duffel bag, all things that are good. Yeah, I can't complain.
I asked
They were good to me.
forcefield.ca for a triple X vest. But I have not opened the box yet because I was going to make a video opening the box and thank them for sending the stuff. And then I just haven't had appropriate timing for that. So on Saturday, I was working all day, watering sod, which was awesome. We have so in Peterborough, there's a water filling station where you can just fill your truck with water.
Do you have a card? Like, do you have to pay?
Yeah, you just tap your card. It's to fill the cube we have, which is like a cubic meter. It's $3.
Yeah, we have to buy a special card and then put money on that card and then go to the water treatment plant and punch in the code on the back of the card, and there's like a middleman involved.
Why
If
don't
it
they
was
just
just debit,
use your
fine,
Interact?
great. You can't. That's not an option. And sometimes your card will run out of money on a Saturday morning when everything is closed for the city, and you have thousands of meters of sod to water, and you can't get water. So
The Peterborough system seems like the best system I've ever incurred.
I'd subscribe to that system.
You just pull up, tap your card, and fill up as much water as you want. Actually, you have to program it in. I made some videos of it. I haven't released them yet.
Did you
For
do the
anyone
exchange?
wondering, what do you mean? Exchange?
Gallons to liters.
So it lets you, yeah, I think it does show the exchange. And then I have one of those cubes in the water trailer. So I figured it was like 1 cubic meter of water. So that's what I pressed. And then I waited to see if it would overflow.
Yes,
I have a video of me. Yeah. So it was $3.25 to fill the cube. So I went through 6 or 7 cubes, but I felt like it was worth it to save like 3 or 4 grand worth of sod.
I think so.
Mm.
You were watering sod with a tote?
Yeah.
That's a rough go.
It wasn't that bad because there wasn't, well, I guess there was a fair amount of sod, but the water was only 8 minutes away.
Yeah, that's okay. Was it gravity fed out of the cube, or did you have a pump?
No, I have a pump and a fire hose. It takes 6 minutes to unload the full cube.
Yeah.
I have some watering experience.
Yeah, I don't doubt you do.
I did it that's what I did when I was a kid.
Water?
That was my first, big career move in landscaping, was to figure that it was easier to water the sod than it was to lay the sod. But then I started dragging the hose.
The water truck. Wasn't that it? You
Yeah.
wanted to drive the water truck?
Yeah, I wanted to drive the water truck, so I got my license.
At the company that I was at, you didn't want to have your license to drive the water truck because that person had to work weekends.
I loved working weekends. I used to work 7 days a week when I drove the water truck.
No. I'd rather be the guy laying the sod for sure. That's so easy. Lay sod is brainless. Bomb around town, couple rolls here, a couple rolls there. That was great. We would put a pallet in the back of a half ton, and away we went. Take the top layer off, stack it on the sides, and just follow the list of places in the city that needed sod. What a time to be alive. That was great. Formative moment in my life.
That was one of the very first thing I ever did commercial landscaping was wheelbarrow soil through ditches on the 401 by the airport.
Yeah, you told us about that. I have a mental
I
image
did-
of you, a young paver king, going across a boardwalk of 2x4 with a wheelbarrow of soil.
Thinking this is a career, baby. This is where I want to be.
I could do this forever.
I laid sod this week at one of our U of T projects to try and get things done. I was out laying some sod, cutting an edge, bringing some topsoil, putting down the topsoil. It was, watering the shit out of the sod. So we got the curb cut because where the sidewalk was going through, we had to cut the curb so that it could be like wheelchair accessible. So they have a weird curb cut detail. So you know, like a normal curb cut is like from where the curb cut ends low to the top of the curb would be like a foot on the angle,
Yeah.
like on the downward slide. So this at U of T it has to be 3 feet. So it ends up with this like massive curb cut, right? Because if the thing is 7 feet wide, then there's 3 feet on each side. It's 13 feet that this curb cut takes up.
Why are they extra handicap at U of T?
I don't know. It's just that's the angles that they want. They want these long 3-foot angles. So the guy cut the curb and he left 1.5 inches of the curb on the vertical, like they did on every other curb cut they've ever done for us, or on every other curb cut I've ever seen. But then the project manager sent me a picture of his finger saying, I can't process your invoice. We can't start the process of getting you paid as long as this deficiency's here. I thought, oh, maybe we fucked this up. Like, I don't know. Like I was there on Saturday. Like it looked okay to me. So Ricky was there today. So he went and measured all the curb cuts we did last year and they were all 1.5 inches too. And then he found some random ones that they had just done that had nothing to do with us. And they were 1.5 inches. So then I called the guy and said, hey man, it seems like 1.5 inches is the right amount of exposure of curb. It's like, it just seems like it would be hard to get up in a wheelchair. I don't know, man. I think wheelchair people have it a lot harder than trying to hop this 1.5 inches of curb. I feel like if I was in a wheelchair, that wouldn't even be a fucking problem for me. I have way bigger issues. Like I can't get to the basketball court because you never made a fucking ramp. I'm just joking. They did make a ramp. Everything was fine. But I was like, man, this is a deficiency. I was talking to someone today about how it's really hard to close anything up in the summer because in Ontario, construction is so fucking complicated that if one person out of the chain is on holidays, the whole chain completely collapses.
Mm.
And then
Yeah.
if you're trying to get a project approved in July and August, there's always someone in the fucking chain of 15 people that is on holidays.
Yeah.
Oh, the fencing guy that certifies it on the city is on holidays. Gotta wait till next week. Oh, the engineer is on holidays. Gotta wait till next week. Oh, the city inspector for the sod is on holidays. Gotta wait till next week. It's like, it doesn't matter what you're trying to do. The GC are on holidays. I want to hear the most fucked up thing going on.
Yes.
This is the most fucked up thing that's happening to us right now. So the art gallery in Oshawa fucked us out of $84,000 or whatever it was, right? Or the GC at the art gallery in Oshawa. So we put a lien on the art gallery in Oshawa. And they had actually paid the total contract for that job through Sitescape was $220,000. So they had actually paid $195,000 of it to Sitescape, and then they never gave us any of the fucking money. So with the lien on the property, all we're due legally is $25,000, plus they said they would pay our lawyers' fees. And that's the holdback on the job or whatever, right? And that's the best we're going to do on it. We're never going to get another penny. I read all the, what do they call it? What, like when court things have been decided before? What do they call that? Like prerequisites or whatever. Anyways.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I read it all. So this is the best we're ever going to do. So on March 1st, we said, if you pay us by March 30th, this money, we'll just fuck it. We'll drop the lien. We'll go away. You guys can all go about your business with your fucking Paver King will have donated $50,000 to the Oshawa Art Gallery, but we don't get no fucking plaque. I should go demand a plaque. Maybe I should just spray paint Paver King donated this on the fucking wall. So this is still not settled since March. And this has been going on since we finished that job on July 7th last year. So this has been going on for almost over a year now. So our lawyer emails us and says they have this wording in the payment settlement to settle the payment that they want Paver King to be responsible for the warranty of everything that was done on that job in order to get our 25 grand. But there's like 100 grand worth of concrete that we had nothing to do with. The GC fucked up the footings. They didn't do a geological test. So they poured these like 12-foot deep footings on literally piles of garbage that weigh thousands of pounds holding up the structure that are guaranteed to settle and sink. So the GC wants us to warranty that, us to warranty all the plants, us to warranty the sod, us to warranty the mulch or whatever the fuck else is there. There's like tons of shit there. They want us to carry the warranty on all of it. So Kelly sent them back an email and said, I'm reminding everyone we've never been paid a penny for this job. Fuck off. Why would we warranty a whole, like, first of all, the GC paid before the 60-day lien period, paid out the majority of the funds. The fucking GC's an asshole. No one should ever work for Bosco Verde, ever. They are fucking assholes. They will not protect subcontractors. So they paid before the 60-day lien. So whatever, like they claim that, I guess it's okay, but they basically fucked every single person who worked on that project because no one got paid. Then common courtesy would be to wait till the 60-day lien period to release the second half of the money. That would be a common courtesy, but Bosco Verde doesn't do that because they're fucking assholes. So don't ever fucking work for them. Anyone listening to this podcast, don't work for these fucking people. They are total fucking goofs. So now we're only due the 25 grand. But Bosco Verde still won't step up and take any kind of responsibility for anything because they're fucking goofs. And now they're trying to make us warranty the job. It was never even our contract. Why would we warranty the fucking job? It's like, I didn't even carry a warranty on the work we did because all we did there was labor. We supplied labor.
Well,
I didn't even have a warranty with the fucking person I did the work for that never paid me.
Well, he's tipped up, so there's no warranty there.
Well, they can't go after him for a warranty because he's fucking vaporized out of space. Yeah. Which I guarantee that obviously, what else are you going to do? So he's gone. There's no warrant. They don't want to. Obviously, they just literally added this in as a last minute clause. So what I would say is on July 7th, when the job got closed down, there was probably a 1 year or some kind of inspection that found all kinds of problems with the job. And now all of a sudden they're sliding in this warranty clause into our paperwork. It's like, you can keep 25 grand. We're going to court. Go fuck yourself.
Again, didn't you just go to court with these guys?
Well,
is this the one that
settled.
Almost delayed your trip to the Caribbean?
Yeah. But these guys, like, this was all settled. They're the ones changing the game. Oh, now you got to warranty it all if you want your 25 grand. It's not worth 25 grand. The repair, like if the concrete is fucked, it was legit 60 or 70 grand worth of concrete. If it's all spalled or fucked up or it sank or what, a million things can go wrong with concrete, especially when you're pouring it at the start of July when it's 10,000 degrees out. Like, I'm like, they wouldn't. And if we wanted to do a site walk, we're banned from the property.
Why are you banned from the property?
Probably because we're suing them. I don't know. The art gallery in itself, the city of Oshawa and the art gallery are fuck arounds. And then they hired this fuck around GC. And somehow I ended up with the short end of all of this stick. But don't worry, the kids are playing in the well-landscaped yard donated by Paver King. I'm going to tell them we'll only settle if they put up a big fucking plaque. Paver King donated this area.
Maybe you can get a good deal on it when it goes for sale in a couple of years.
Yeah, fucking, they're probably going to sell the art gallery. I'm going to petition Doug Ford to sell the fucking art gallery in Oshawa. Sure, our tax dollars are paying for it somehow.
We had a deficiency report come through last week for, I'd say, probably 150 grand worth of work that we did last year in August. We fought to get some additional money to water trees and everything, and the deficiency report for the building came through, and it's pages upon pages of stuff. And then the landscape portion was one line and one picture. We forgot to put 6 caps on the wall. Like, we just completely forgot to put the caps on because we had to order more caps. And we're like, oh, how much are they holding back? It was like 20 grand or something like that. Okay, guess we should get those caps then. Put them on real quick. If this is the biggest problem with the landscape, I think we can afford to spring for 6 caps. Most
What if
expensive
they're
caps we ever
discontinued?
put on. No,
Oh, they came from
I
a different
had them.
run.
No, I
Yeah.
had them sitting at the retailer since last year. We just never picked them up to put them on.
Could you imagine they're discontinued?
Oh, I'd pick them up off a job in Ottawa that we did, which owes us $20,000. So
We laid this sod like 4 weeks ago. We didn't lay it. We had sod put down on one of our jobs like 4 weeks ago. And so 4 weeks ago, I said, "Hey, it's the middle of June. It's pretty hot out. We need to jack the irrigation system for a week and a half just till the sod gets really set, then put it on a maintenance cycle." So they did the deficiency walk, and there's water laying in the irrigation, like water laying in the area. They're like, "Oh, the grade's all fucked up. This is that. Like, it's everything. You got to tear it all out and redo it." So I hadn't been there. I went there yesterday. Yeah, yesterday I went up there. I walked to the back. I'm like, "Can someone shut up the fucking irrigation?" Like,
he just let it run wide open for
they just
weeks.
4 hours a night. And now they're like, "Oh, the area is holding water." Why do you think that is? You're running the irrigation for 4 hours every night. And the grass now is like 6.5 inches long. And of course, it got pulled out of the hat on this. This is like the never ending saga of me fucking getting involved with Sitescape shit, which hopefully now that they're bankrupt, I will not be able to involve myself with it anymore because there's no Sitescape left to fucking suck me into their crap. Like the grass, I didn't know this because when we took that job, I didn't do a full review of the contract, which, that's my fault. Well, all of it's my fault. An extreme owner, it's everything. Anyways, we have to cut the fucking grass twice, which is like one of these things that is in every contract, but no one ever holds you to ever, except here. During the site walk, when they were looking at the 6-inch long grass that's being watered for 4.5 hours every night, wondering why the water isn't running through. I'm like, that grass, as soon as grass gets long, water will stop running through it. It runs like, what the fuck are you people doing? Out of all that, they turned to Jack and said, "Oh yeah, you guys got to cut the grass twice too." Who the fuck does, like, I don't remember the last time I got called out on the grass cutting portion of a contract.
Yeah, I don't own a lawnmower, and I'm positive that's been in at least 50 of my commercial quotes.
Cut the grass. And how many times have you ever been called out on?
Zero.
Jack priced a job for another contractor, and it was in there, so Jack priced it. And then we were a bit high on it, so they called me back and said, "Hey, you're a bit high on this. Do you want to work on the number?" And then I said, "Well, we priced to cut the grass twice." And the guy was like, "Yeah, we never do that. Don't worry about it. We've worked for this client a million times." I said, "Okay, well, we'll withdraw that money out of there."
Yeah.
It's like, I don't remember the last. So, my friend Rob is going to go up and cut the fucking grass. It's bashed over the head on this job over and over again. It's like, what the fuck, man? It's like the never ending job you can't escape from. Anyways, I had a great week. They did finally, and the sod out front of the building, the fresh sod that just went down, it wasn't getting irrigated. We're too busy irrigating the 4-week-old sod at the back of the building. Why would we irrigate the fucking front? What are you, crazy? That's crazy talk. Oh my God. Fuck me. And then today it poured rain. Because even if the grade is fucked up, we can't fix it if there's 6 inches of water there.
Yeah.
They asked for another repair, and Kyle pulled the sod back. And because, like the thickness of the sod, the water all seeped into the depth of the sod. Because they're like, "Oh, free hole. You don't have to fight our way through the sod here." Fucking filled up. What the fuck?
Real.
Oh, anyways. Commercial contracting. It's not for the meek.
Still better than residential?
Yes.
So we have a residential job upcoming, and I spent some time at Arndt's wandering around, picking out materials, and I can confidently say to you right now, yeah, it's better. Commercial contracting is better. With all the pitfalls and bullshit, still better. Still better. What did you do today, Mike? Did you stay home or did you
I
go to
stayed
work?
home. I stayed home and I did office work. What were you picking out at Arndt's for residential? Natural stone?
Pavers.
Pavers.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're meeting a client there to choose
We
which one?
were meeting the residential client there.
Oh,
To pick
okay.
out
I see.
Nancy Green and I met them there to pick out their pavers.
Hmm.
So they went with actually some interesting choices.
What did they go with? Squadra? Fan?
No, they did pick Squadra though as
Oh,
their border color, and I think it's an interesting shape, size. I think they picked Eva, Champlain Gray Eva, with Squadra border.
I actually
some-
enjoy meeting clients and choosing product. That's probably my favorite part of the whole sales process with residential. I might be the odd one out in that, but that probably goes back to my supplier days as well.
Maybe you know how to manipulate people better. You have more experience, right? Well, how many people did you help pick out when you were at the supplier?
Yeah, quite a bit.
So you probably have more experience than the average landscaper.
Maybe. It depends how long you've been landscaping for, that's for sure.
Well, but if you were doing it 4 or 5 times a day,
Right.
every day,
Maybe not as much as PK, but maybe more than the average, I guess.
I have spent a fair share of my life picking out pavers. Actually, I used to really like it too. To be fair, I did used to really enjoy it. I used to
Yeah.
like trying to be creative and make paver and make, but now every time I look at anything, the first thing I say is, are those both 60 mil? Are those both 80 mil? Because I'm not fucking around with the heights for borders. I'm just not.
So when you're meeting Nancy Green there, is she giving her insight and then you're trying to, if she picks a 60 and an 80, you're trying to butt in there and say, why don't we not go with that 80? Why don't we go with another 60? What does that dynamic look like? Or does she let you do the pavers? She kind of hands off when it comes to that.
Normally I think I pick the pavers and then she either backs up the choice or tells me no. And then she'll sometimes pick the pavers, but we've done it a lot together. So I think a lot of times people like her there too because they've paid for a designer. They want her, they're looking for her opinion on it, right?
You're right.
And then when it comes to color and stuff, a lot of times she has opinions on it. And then you're right, I will pick stuff that's structurally, or say like you can't use that for this, or you can use this for that, or I like things that have continuity. So like if you pick one block Teco product, I want you to pick all the products for the job from that supplier. Or if you pick a Con Perm or a Lock Uni or a Way Best, whatever you pick, I want the continuity of the whole job to be that product. It's just in my brain, I guess. There's no reason for it. Can make an argument that if you have a problem and a sales rep comes and they see that you have spent all your money with their company, as opposed to just some banding, they might be more helpful to you. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Having been a sales rep, I don't think I ever paid attention to that, but I think there was, whatever. Anyways, Nancy sometimes I would pick the color too. We'd work on it together. So it should be a nice job.
Nice.
I like that paver in particularly because in a small walkway, you get a lot more of a random pattern out of it than if you use the bigger sizes.
Yeah, Eva?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
I've
if you're
actually done a couple of jobs Eva this year. I like it.
It just when you're doing a small space, there's a lot more of the pattern, right?
Yeah.
The pieces are just the right size for that. It's not Like you're not just getting like 4 pieces. And anyways, I think
Yeah.
it looks. We've used it a lot. I like it. It's a
Especially
good
for walkways
Yes.
where it's just like 3 feet wide, 4 feet wide. You get a little bit more paver in the pattern, like you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we've done a couple where the walkways had to twist, and those size that paver, the sizes are small enough. If you do a running bond, you can twist it a bit without, like you can twist a running bond pathway a little, like not on a 90 or something. Then
Yeah.
you'd have to cut your miters, obviously. But it'll make like I like that size. It's a good size.
Yeah.
So I was happy that they picked that.
Nice.
It's a good
Chad, is
paver.
that Worker?
That's Worker.
How old
Yep.
is Worker?
He's 8 weeks old, wire hair pointer, and he whines a lot less than my last dog while we're doing the podcast. So far, anyway.
What kind of dog
Yeah.
is Worker?
He's a wire hair pointing griffin. So
Wow. Never heard of
he
that.
doesn't shed. He's a hunting dog. Pointer.
Are you gonna take him
obviously.
hunting?
That's the plan. He shows the promise. So we'll see.
How big
How do
does
you
it?
know what's just purely out of interest sake, what is like what's the dog doing at 8 weeks old to show promise to being a good hunting dog?
It has a prey drive for its toys and shit,
Oh, okay.
right?
Cool.
Like if you wiggle the toy in front of it and shoot it, and then it'll go and run after it. Some dogs at this age like that, and some dogs don't. Some dogs just want to play with people or other dogs and stuff, but apparently this is a sign. So
Nice.
we'll see. We'll see. He's going to be a handful, but he spent all day in the truck with me today, driving around,
Oh, yeah?
visiting sites. Yeah, he's good at that. Yeah, he's a handful. Fuck, puppies are a handful.
Yeah.
Forgot how much of a handful they are. And him in a crate is just the worst thing you could ever hear. It's like someone's beating a child or something, the poor thing. So I'm gonna have to work on crate training, eh, buddy? Yeah.
We never get dogs when they're puppies. We inherit other people's severely broken dogs
Mm.
and then try to fix them.
How is your
That's
one
the-
dog that was afraid of everything?
He died.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He passed away. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was last summer. It's been like a year. That's
Oh.
how we ended up with the massive sheep.
How's
That's how we
the
ended up with
what is it,
Martha.
Bertha? What's it, Martha?
Martha. Yeah, that's how we ended up with
Uh,
Martha. Because we had one dog for a while, the 3-legged dog, and well, he's really 2-legged, and then he has like another broken limb. So we have him, and then he was by himself, and then Kelly got Martha. So
Hmm.
what kind of dog is she? I don't know. She's a huge white dog. It's like the abominable snowman.
Mm.
So she used to bark a lot, but now we have a controversial training collar.
Oh,
So it vibrates or beeps. You don't have to shock her.
It's not
It has a
shock,
bunch of
huh?
different. It will shock her if she gets out of control, but she's super smart. So now, like, she'll run to the back. She'll bark when she goes out the door. She gets to the back. She stops barking. She just stares through the fence because she knows that we'll make her come in if she keeps barking, and she wants to be outside. So she's a smart dog. Sometimes, but I don't. I don't think I've ever shocked her. I think I've had to give her a vibrate, and then she knows she's smart. She'll come in or be quiet, or she's a smart dog. So we never had a puppy. I don't think I've ever even had a puppy.
You're not missing out. They're a handful. My God.
We had a puppy when I was a kid.
Would you ever put in dog fence for your landscape business?
Would I do it as part of my business?
Yeah, like if you had to put in like, the rate, what is it? The electric dog fence?
Yeah.
Or have you ever been asked to put in an electric dog fence?
never.
No.
I feel like that's something we've tiptoed around and never had to do. And thankfully we've never broken one or something like that. But I wonder what the liability is if you snag someone's dog fence and the dog gets hit by a car or something.
Mm.
Is it the landscaper's fault?
What does the dog fence do?
So they're
They
wearing
have
the
to keep the
collar,
dogs.
right? And whenever they
Oh,
go
they
past
have
the
to
line,
wear the collar. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm
It's
sure
not
there's a
something I ever
landscaper.
think about, to be honest.
No, me
That's a
either.
good thought when you're excavating.
Yeah. Oh, you broke my dog fence.
Yeah.
My dog died or something.
Yeah.
You know,
That's an intense sales call.
that's hopefully the check clears before the dog dies,
Right.
right? So
You could accidentally shut something like that off, though.
yeah, but it's also likely if you were digging up everything in the yard that you cut it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Now it's gonna happen. Watch, I said it, and it's gonna happen to us.
Yeah. No
And
kidding.
now we're gonna be fucked.
I have an unrelated dog question for you guys.